Good morning and welcome to all of you, all our panelists, our Chancellor, Pro-Chancellor, our PVC and our students, and including all faculty members, our deans, our HODs for this particular webinar on the topic of expectation of pharma industry from pharma students and basic introduction of GMP, good manufacturing practices. I would like to introduce our Om Sterling Global University. That our university is established under Haryana Private Universities Act. The university is fully devoted to achieve its vision, mission and objectives through academic excellence in all spheres of knowledge. The campus is fully equipped with ultra-modern infrastructure and surrounded by lush, green, eco-friendly environment. The university is offering many courses from diploma, UG, PG to research-oriented MPhil and PhD as well. The campus is a blend of various schools such as School of Engineering and Technology, Commerce and Management, Architecture, Fine Arts, Pharmaceutical Sciences, School of Legal Studies, Applied Sciences, Agriculture, Humanities and Social Sciences, as well as Paramedical Sciences, Hospitality Management, Yoga and Naturopathy, and School of Media and Journalism. Om Sterling Global University is headed by very charismatic personality having masters in communication and consciousness building, who is a man with a distinct vision, Dr. Puneet Goyal, as the Chancellor of the university. He is a doctor by profession and believes in passion, education, value creation, and pragmatism for being successful in any sphere of life. Sir, I welcome you in the present webinar. Our Pro-Chancellor, Dr. Poonam Goyal, who is a real source of inspiration for one and all the backbone of our university. She is also a doctor by education and she is having zeal to work and a vision to promote any organization. Now it's time to meet our Pro-Vice Chancellor of our university, Dr. Ajay Kumar Podar. He is the ex-Vice Chancellor of Texla American University, Zambia, Africa. He has done PhD in Management, Effectiveness of Digital Marketing in private universities, and having a strong record of managing projects, creating procedures, IT automation, and strategic planning while preserving the core culture and values of the organization. He is also awarded by Asia Africa Development Council Excellence Award in the area of education development and IT implementation, and Rashtriya Gaurav Award for their services and outstanding performance in India. So I welcome all of you in the present webinar, and we have to now, it's time to get more familiarized with our university by taking a visual tour of our university. A short video will now be played for the purpose, and afterwards we can introduce our PVC and other speakers and start our that one particular webinar. Welcome all of you again. Now I invite our Pro-Vice Chancellor, Dr. Ajay Kumar Podar, to speak something on this particular webinar.
Thank you, Dr. Sobna, and I'm indeed very happy to learn that the university's pharmacy school has taken a lead, and now in the series of the intellectuals webinar series, we are today having this webinar on pharmaceutical. That what the industry is expecting from the student. The topic is very, very relevant in this period of the COVID-19, when everybody is looking to the medical people, including pharmacy and paramedical, that how we can come out with a certain kind of the medicine or tablets or injection. So as you already have introduced our university, our Chancellor, Pro-Chancellor, and what about the vision and mission of the university, I formally welcome our experts from the industry and the academia, Mr. Ashok Deshpande ji, Mr. Sanjay ji, and Dr. Roma Ghai from the academia. So I welcome all those experts and our guest for this wonderful another I think 70 to 80 minutes we will be having the very good knowledgeable inputs from the experts from industries as well as from academia. So it's a good blend. I am very happy. I welcome everybody and over to Dr. Sobna. We can start with the expert lectures.
Thank you, sir. Now it's my pleasure to introduce. Thank you, sir. It's my pleasure now to introduce Mr. Ashok Gopal Deshpande ji. He is Secretary and member of Business Network International, member of Pune University CSR Board. He's a Director of Public Relations Association, Nashik. He's a soft skill trainer and mentor to many schools, many universities and colleges of Maharashtra. He's recently doing a research work on meditation as a tool for life enrichment.
Thank you so much, and welcome to a small talk on career in the pharma industry and expectations from B Pharm and D Pharm students. Good morning to you all. Am I audible to everybody? Is it right?
Yes, sir. Please go ahead.
Student, if you are absolutely ready, write in the chat box that you are ready and see the first slide. Give your today for your better tomorrow. So kindly keep your mobiles off and be attentive, because we want to do more, feel better and live longer. And if you want to do this, you have to be very energetic even in the post-COVID period, and there you have to follow time management is a life management principle so that you can excel yourself better. Knowledge is a power, and if knowledge is a power, what you know is a small part and what you don't know is a large part of the knowledge. Am I right? And if you understand it correctly, write yes. Let us go ahead. So knowledge is a power. We live in a competition era where good is not good, where better is expected. And therefore, in our every act, one has to be zero defect while excelling ourselves. And if you think you can do this, and therefore you need to have a confidence of excelling yourself. अगर आपको भविष्य बनाना है, तो भविष्य बनाते समय you need to think that you are capable of doing this, like a sculptor who is removing the stone which is not required as per his vision and create the sculpture to understand his vision. Therefore, this all, the door to self-improvement only opens from within. All students must remember that you are the only creator. You are the only important and responsible for your career in the life, nobody else. I am very happy to say that you are in a very good environment of a home university, global university, where your career you are planning. And therefore, while planning the career in pharma also, we need to plan the process of your career, and we need to understand what employees are looking for. And therefore, let us understand that career planning encourages us to explore and gather the information which enable them to synthesize. There are many steps of career planning. So who are you? One should understand. Identify your career related interest and abilities and performance. At the same time, learn and de-learn what you have learned for taking the subject forward. Narrow down your choice, get the right training and prepare your career in the right way to begin your job and search and start your career. And therefore, there are many opportunities in the pharma industry as well to make your career, which can be named as follows, like a student internship for experience and grooming yourself absolutely on the ground level. Then you can have the opportunity of becoming management trainee. Second one, very core activity of a chemist. You can be also a laboratory testing analyst, documentation training officer, executive manager, and training GMP and documentation also. At the same time, there are some external careers which can focus on sales representative, marketing officer, executive manager, L&D, executives for sales representative, and project managers for pharma plant commissioning, manufacturing and quality department officials, and pharma audit and internal validation. These are all external careers. If you wanted to work in the industry itself, then for a diploma, also some students are joining from diploma. So let me tell you very frankly, dear friends, that diploma pharmacy has a very limited industrial openings. These openings can start with a machine operator or line in charge. Also, you can be your own entrepreneur by starting your own medical shop or working in the hospital as a pharmacist. And please note, students, that there is always a demand on the top, and you are not only important, but how you are doing is more important. Who are you is not important. How many years of life you are living is not important, but how you are living is important. If you lived 80 years and you are hospitalized for 79 years, your living long has no meaning at all. And therefore, quality is very important. To focus this quality, the employees are looking for some major criteria of your qualities of your personality, like communication skills, personality development, knowledge skills and values, value addition, ROI, that is return on investment, that if you are employed by the company, what you are going to give them, that is also very important. And therefore the trends of the qualities what you should have, which should be honed right from the days of a college, from campus to industry, are flexibility, transparency, honesty, loyalty, alignment with the vision and mission of the company, creativity and innovation, team building and teamwork is one of the very important quality, negotiation skills, leadership qualities, managing people and people connect also are very important. As I spoke to you, communication is basically conveying effectively what you feel, what you think, what you want, what you need. And therefore, good communication means letting the things go together in that chain properly, as we have discussed. And communication skill emphasizes art of listening, art of choosing the topic, art of body communication, and art of positive assertiveness. Teamwork is very important. Remember that you will not be working in isolation as an individual in the company. There are many people who are working with us. So you have to fall with the interest of all. You have to connect all positive points. I am very happy to know that present situation of your university is very good. You are in the learning temple, and therefore learning and relearning is very important. I appreciate one and all for taking admission in the pharma careers for second year, and therefore we need to learn new skills and knowledge. Present time is very difficult, but it is not unmanageable. Certainly the entire world is facing this post-COVID situation first time, and we can summarize that in 4 words. One is a volatility is the specialty of the time. Uncertainty, everything is uncertain around us, but you need to be certain what you want to become, what you want to seek, what you want to do. Complexity, there is a complexity all around, but if you have no complexity in your mind, you will have a clarity in what you do. Ambiguity is aspashtata, and ambiguity also is very, very important. And there are opportunities, there are challenges of young professionals in this time. If you summarize that challenges in 3 different zones, you can say knowledge is a challenge, but you need to decide what you want to say. Skill is a challenge, then decide how you want to say. Wisdom, we need to decide to say and what not to say when nothing is required to say. Even silence is also very important.
And I like to discuss so many technical things on the pharmaceutical sector specifically in this pandemic issues. So thank you very much once again. Om Sterling University, I have seen the video initially. It looks to be very nice, and lush-free gardens and all setup was very nice. And the way you are running this university seems to be excellent. And I wish you all the best in that successful running of the university. My topic is good manufacturing practices in pharmaceuticals specifically. So the students working and studying in this university, they have got wide access to various initial scopes in the pharmacy as a profession. It is not only industry, that is one of the industry is one of the thing wherein they can enter. Apart from industry, there are drugstore management, hospital management, research and development, marketing management. So many avenues are open for the students to perform better in their career. So as a profession, they can choose anything out of that. Those who are are interested specifically in manufacturing of high quality medicine, for them this particular session or this particular talk will find useful. Now, the medicines are nothing but a drug containing excipients and others, which is palatable into the form for the administration of the patient to get recovered. Now, the pharma companies are mostly manufacturing quality medicines, and the medicines are for the patients. Our end customer is not an ordinary person. He's a person having some difficulty, some problem, some sort of illness, uncomfortableness, and therefore he is ill. So the medicine which is manufactured out of a pharma company is there to help the patient get recovered from his illness. The importance of these medicines to the pharma sector and for especially for the patients or the people at the end of our supply chain is more, because the high quality medicines are affecting the human life, making them enabling them to do more, feel better and live longer. The students in this pharmacy career are fortunate enough that God has chosen them specifically to serve the mankind, to serve the humanity. So the students should feel proud of choosing pharmacy as their own career. They should never be ashamed because I did not get medicine as my profession, I therefore entered in pharmacy. No, it's not like that. They should be proud. They should feel proud to be working in pharma sector also, because the pharma sector is affecting the human life. All those good practices which are employed during manufacturing and a series of guidelines and rules followed consistently during the manufacturing to produce the high quality medicine are known as good manufacturing practices. So the word GMP does not stand alone for pharma sector only. The good manufacturing practices word is applicable to all industries which are manufacturing some or other as a product. Say for example, textile industry, ceramic industry, automobile industry, paint industry and or whatnot, engineering industries, aviation industries, and if you can take film industry also, because movie is ultimately their product. So any industry manufacturing some or other product has to have that kind of good manufacturing practices in their companies or manufacturing site. However, the importance of GMP, particularly in pharma sector, is more compared to other companies. Can you understand the reason behind this? What could be the possible reason why the importance of GMP word is more prevalent in pharma sector? Yes, because the pharma sector is such a sector wherein we are playing with the human life. Our products are impacting the human life. Our products are impacting the person at the end of supply chain, or a person who is known as patient or who is ill or having some uncomfortableness. So we want to get rid of his illness. We want to get rid of his problem. Therefore, the product which we are supplying to the patient has to have a high quality. We cannot compromise with the quality of the product. Our product quality has to be the best. And in order to achieve that product quality to be the best, we need to have good manufacturing practices. So you understood the importance of what GMP in pharma sector is more compared to other sector. So GMP is nothing but again a series of guidelines or rules that should be followed consistently in the manufacturing to produce the high quality products. Then the word GMP is also termed as GXP also. It's not that only good manufacturing practices. GXP, that X stands for laboratory also, which means good laboratory practices. X stands for E, that means good engineering practices. X stands for D, that is good distribution practices. X stands for D, that's documentation practices. So the word GMP, if you replace the word M by X, it can be anything. It can be good laboratory practices, engineering practices, distribution practices, documentation practices, and good hygienic practices also. So in brief, the GMP starts in manufacturing sector, particularly with the first and prime principle on health and hygiene. The health and hygiene of an employee working in pharma sector plays a very, very important role. If the employee himself is not fit enough to carry out the operations, then it will be difficult for him to perform better. If the employee is having some illness or some disease, he is not allowed to enter into the manufacturing sector, because his disease can be spread among the others colleague. It can be a contagious disease also, and therefore the health and hygiene, the practices which we are now following in this pandemic issues are prevailing in pharma sector far before that. The very fact you enter in pharma sector needs to understand and follow the good hygienic practices at the beginning itself. They are very fundamental things, the very basic things. In this pandemic, the thing which we are following, like use of sanitizer, cleaning of our hand, keeping the distance, not touching our bare hand to anything. These practices which the country is following nowadays are the basic fundamental things which every person working in pharma sector has to follow at the initial stage only. And it is a continuous process. It's not that only for pandemic. It is a throughout continuous process of following health and hygiene factor, cleaning of hand, washing off your face, keeping your body clean, shaving, etc. These are all small things that becomes a part of good manufacturing practices. Then comes housekeeping and area monitoring. For a pharma sector in a manufacturing unit, the housekeeping plays a very important role. It so happened in my career, once a foreign dignitary had come to our factory and he saw one of the boy sweeping the floor. He just asked that boy, "Hey, what are you doing?" He said, the boy said, the housekeeping person said, "I'm contributing myself in the quality manufacturing of the medicine, sir." The answer which he has given was very much appreciated by these foreign dignitaries, because they appreciated that although this boy who is sweeping the floor is not directly a part of manufacturing process, but his contribution in keeping the area clean and acceptable for the manufacturing process is vital, as very important. And he who understands that importance of the work which he is carrying out is the person who is fit to join this company. So all the students in this profession should be proud of what they are learning, what their teachers are teaching them. Please understand thoroughly, learn as much as you can, and all those small things which you are learning in your career as a pharmacy are definitely helpful to you in your manufacturing unit also. So we talked about health and hygiene initially. Later on we discuss about housekeeping and area monitoring. Area monitoring is nothing but the area wherein actual manufacturing process takes place. The area is a classified area also, depending on the product you are manufacturing. The area has to be contamination free. There should not be any contamination from any source happening in that area wherein you are going to manufacture high quality products, medicines for the patients. Then comes the safety. Safety is another important aspect of good manufacturing practices. When I say safety, it does not mean that road safety. The safety means the safety of the product, safety of the people working in that area, safety of the machinery wherein the product is being manufactured, safety of the documents keeping in this area, and lastly, the process safety as well as patient safety. The process safety and patient safety do play a vital role and a very important role. Whatever we are producing in a pharmaceutical company are for the main of the person at the end of supply chain, who is known as patient. Ultimately, every pharma company in this India is working towards the benefit of the patient and patient only. So the patient safety ultimately is important, which is also a part of good manufacturing practices. Later, then it comes to the gowning. Gowning means can a person or a student having civil dress enter directly into the manufacturing site? No, not at all. Similarly, when you can see a surgeon entering into an operation theatre, imagine a condition of operation theatre or a surgeon and his staff working in that particular area, doing some operation of a patient. So the kind of cleanliness, the kind of hygiene, the kind of sanitization, the kind of contamination free area, the kind of gowning they are putting in is very important for the process to take place immediately and effectively. Unless they do follow these guidelines, the ultimate end, that is the product which we are manufacturing, will not meet the quality specification. And therefore, in order to maintain that quality specification, high quality products, gowning is one of the important things. The civil dress which we are wearing and coming from outside the environment environment do carry lot many bacteria, environmental microorganisms, and if these microorganisms go into the product or go into the manufacturing area or go into the process itself, it may contaminate the entire batch. It may contaminate the entire product, which is harmful ultimately to the patient. Therefore, in order to maintain the contamination free area, the people working in that area needs to undergo different gowning stage depending on the manufacturing. Say for example, a non-classified area like tablet, capsule, liquid oral manufacturing, then the kind of discipline and the kind of environment may not be that 100% better as compared to the injectables, wherein the injectables or ampules or injections are being manufactured. The vaccines, injection and the ampoules wherein these activities are taking place, that area is totally different. They're called as classified class 100 area. The technicality of this subject, it is a huge and vast. We may go sometime in detail afterwards. But at the moment, you should understand that the area monitoring again, it comes to the temperature of the area, humidity in the area, working factors, people movement in that area, the machinery time, machinery running time, machinery noise, etc. So many things are there. The dust contamination level in that particular area. These are all small things which needs to be monitored frequently and documented effectively to ensure that the area is absolutely clean and tidy and sanitized properly to manufacture high quality medicine. So I described about initially health and hygiene, then followed by housekeeping and area monitoring, then safety of the product, safety of the process, safety of the patient, and ultimately gowning also. Later on, one of the small thing is door discipline. In a pharmaceutical company, the closing of the door immediately after its use is vital, very important, because if you keep the doors open, the pressure balancing get disturbed. The area pressure, air pressure in that particular area, if it gets disturbed, it may contaminate the product again. Therefore, small thing like door discipline, your shoes, safety shoes wearing, your labeling are vital in this area. These are all GMP factors, small things that comes under GMP. Labeling is a vital part of any pharmaceutical industry. There are two kinds of label. One is the identity label and second one is the status label. The product which is going into the market, into the hands of the patient or the consumer at the end of supply chain, they are called as identity label. Identity that indicates the identity of the product which is prescribed and printed on the cartons or tubes and the boxes, DFC, that's called the double folded corrugated box. So that is identity of the product. However, status labeling also plays a very important role. All the powders or the raw material are almost seen to be white or semi-white or white crystalline, white amorphous powder. So if we don't label them correctly, there are chances of getting mix up one product with the other product. Even for tablets, most of the tablets are white in nature, that is colorless or white color. Then there are chances of mix up. If a tablet of hormone producing gets contaminated with the antibiotics or other different thing, it may create havoc to the patient. Therefore, labeling is very, very important. Labeling the status level, whether the product is under process, whether the product is pass, under test, quarantine, warehouse, all those things are very, very important. So labeling, another aspect. Documentation. Then comes the documentation. Documentation is another important part that a pharma industry has to follow, and all these things which I have discussed just now are mandatory from the law point also. In our you must have studied forensic medicine and forensic pharmacy as one of the subject. So in this forensic pharmacy subject, there are many drugs laws and drug rules like Schedule H, Schedule E drugs. In that, they are specifically written Schedule M also, how the environment of the factory should be, what are the labeling conditions, how the storage conditions should be there. So all these things are very, very important. The documentation, when the process takes place during the manufacturing, every step they carry out needs to be documented immediately. There is known as ALCOA principle, which is vital for documentation purpose. That means attributable, legible, contemporaneous or concurrent entries. Then the entries has to be original and accurate. whatever the data you generate out of a manufacturing process needs to be documented in this manner only, because this is the pattern. ALCOA principle is one of the important factor that the documentation has to be there. If you don't document anything, that means you are not perform that activity. The regulators are very much after this documentation. Once the product goes into the market, and if there is some market complaint, then in order to investigate the complaint, the document is the only thing which is with the manufacturer that can be produced in the court of law in the case of anything mishap happen in the industry or in the society. So therefore documentation is important. Then comes the frequent audits or the inspection. Regulatory audits are there, level 1 inspection, 2, 3 and 4. There are various stages of inspection that needs to be carried out. And the last one is the line clearance or area clearance. So all this, unless the first product gets totally over and the area is clean thoroughly, you cannot manufacture the next batch or you cannot manufacture the next product. That is in short the line clearance. So why we are following everything? So I have finished almost about the briefing of introduction to the good manufacturing practices in the pharmaceutical industries. Why we are carrying out this in the pharma industries? We are the process catalyst, or we are the people, we are the professional in healthcare sector who are helping the people doing more in whatever the job they are carrying out, helping them to do more, then feeling them better in their own way and living longer. So do more, feel better and live longer has to be the motto of any professional in the pharma sector, to help the people do more, feel better and live longer. So I end up my session with the time to ask, make you free to ask questions. Thank you very much, madam. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sanjay sir. It's really a very good for those students.
Hello, first of all, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all dignitaries, management, Pro Vice Chancellor sir, Shobna ma'am, and all my dear students. I would like to introduce my topic of today, that is Introduction to GLP. Is my slide? Can everyone see the slide, ma'am? Ma'am, can you see the slide?
Yes, we can.
Okay, fine. So, I'll be basically going through the introduction to GLP. Now, first of all, the contents will be how GLP and GMP is related. What is the definition of GLP? What is the need of GLP for today? What are the objectives? And how it started actually in the whole world, and how it is occurring in India. And briefly, OECD GLP principles with examples of some certified centers. So students, as you all know, GLP means good lab practices and GMP means good manufacturing practices. Now both are concerned with laboratory only. Now ultimately we have to ensure safety and integrity of drugs as well as chemical products. Now both these regulations are governed by FDA. Now actually GMP, where the manufacturing part is there, it covers the whole process of manufacturing of drugs and chemical products, whereas the GLP part, it covers the testing regulations, which is a very important part because that ensures the quality assurance compliance. It governs safety in lab studies. All the preparations, all the procedures, all the calibrations, they have to be taken place as per GLP so that a product manufactured safe. Now GLP is more concerned with the non-clinical research which is taking place in R&D. So students, if you are going in R&D department, you'll be doing non-clinical research studies. You may be going in pharmacological labs, or you may be going in toxicology labs, or you may be doing physicochemical testing of pharmaceutical, pesticides, food additives. So I thought this is a actual topic which I should take. Now, first of all, how do you define GLP? GLP are the rules, operating procedure, practices which actually are mandatory, because they will ensure quality, they will ensure correctness in the results which are produced by a laboratory. Now, as you know, what is quality? Quality means you are producing the same product again and again which are meeting the same specifications time after time. So GLP embodies a set of principles which provides a framework within which lab studies are planned, performed, monitored, recorded, archived, as well as reported. Now, it is a formal regulation that was created by FDA in 1978. So basically, you are promoting quality if you are following GLP. and your product is getting recognized in many countries. So GLP actually, what is it actually? It is basically it's a quality system. What the drugs and companies they do, they provide their products to GLP laboratories for the testing, and the data which has been obtained from GLP laboratories is actually submitted to the companies and followed to the regulatory authorities, and then only you get the permission whether the drug or company can actually go for international trade or not. Need of GLP. See, we all make mistakes. We are human beings, right? Now, there's simply rules which say what you do. Now, GLP says what you do. How can you do that? How you can do it with the help of written standard operating procedures. Do what you say. That is, follow the procedures. Be able to prove it with good record keeping. So GLP says that you have to do what is actually written in the SOPs. You have to follow the procedures and you have to keep a good record for all this. So again, the principle of GLP is to support the development of quality and the validity of test data, which is used for determining safety of chemicals and the chemical products, including pharmaceuticals. So GLP helps in decreasing the occurrence of mistakes. It helps in decreasing the occurrence of the problems of mix-ups by using GLP principles. So GLP says that you create a plan, predefined study plan, and then you follow a study plan. The GLP says that every step of analysis has to be valid, right? Then GLP has heavy emphasis on data recording, record, and specimen retention. Now, GLP principles are the basis for ensure that whatever data you're providing to FDA actually shows that the work is genuine, the work is honest. Okay, so it's a part of basically quality assurance, which ensures that organizations produce and control goods to a high quality standard. So it makes sure data submitted are a true reflection of results obtained during study. It makes sure not to indulge in any fraud activity. It promotes international acceptance of data. This is actually called by the term MAD, that is mutual acceptance of data. Now, how it started? Just have a look at it. GLP was introduced in New Zealand and Denmark in 1972, and later it started in USA in 1978 in response to India's industrial biotest labs. Now, what actually was held? GLP was instituted in US following cases of fraud. There were a lot of cases of fraud. I'll be just discussing one case of fraud, that is by industrial biotest labs. Right? So FDA became aware of case of poor laboratory practice all over US. So FDA decided to go for in-depth investigation, 40 toxicology labs, and they discovered a lot of fraudulent activities, a lot of poor lab practices were there. Equipment was not calibrated to standard form. They were giving wrong measurements. There was inaccurate accounts for actual lab studies. There was inadequate test systems, and the very important highlighted study, this industrial biotest tragedy was there. What happened? This lab was running tests for big companies like Procter & Gamble, and it was found that the mice this lab had used to test cosmetics like lotions, deodorants, they have developed cancer. They have died. The lab actually, through the dead mice, they hid the results, and they said that these deodorants, lotions are good enough for human consumption. But when the inspection went on, it came to know that it was a false result. So those involved in production, distribution, sales eventually were served jail time. So US decided that FDA promulgated the Good Lab Practices Regulations, Code of Federal Regulations, which became effective from June 1979. Now in Europe, what happened? Europe, OECD started. OECD is an organization for economic cooperation development, which established a group of experts to formulate first GLP principles. This was an attempt to promote mutual acceptance of non-clinical safety data. It required elimination of unnecessary duplication of experiments. The principles actually created harmonization in testing procedures, which was mutual acceptance of data. They were the accepted methods to carry out activities or operations in a lab, right? As I told you, that data generated in testing of chemicals in any OECD member country, if performed with GLP principles, the same testing will be applied to other OECD member countries. Until now, OECD has got 37 member countries and India is one of them. So OECD GLP principles ensure generation of high quality and reliable test data. So safety of industrial chemical substances, preparations like pesticides, food additives, dyes, pharmaceuticals, to save humans and environment actually was the aim of OECD principles. So the goal of GLP, it's a quality system which ensures uniformity, consistency, reliability, reproducibility, quality and integrity of products in development to save human health as well as animal health as well as environmental health. So a GLP is basically done in all the tests in non-clinical safety tests from physicochemical properties through acute to chronic toxicity tests. These are the OECD GLP principles which are actually followed by all GLP certified labs, right? So basically the product gets manufactured, it goes for non-clinical testing, and finally these GLP principles help to find out the data is submitted to the regulatory authorities, right? And if it's safe, then it goes for release in the market. And if it's not safe, then it cannot release into the market and it does not go into the international trade. So how is GLP followed in our country? We have basically National GLP Compliance Monitoring Authority that is established by DST, Department of Science and Technology, and it has approval of Union Cabinet on April 24, 2002. It's a provisional member of OECD for GLP, and India is observing all OECD GLP principles. And this authority has trained experts in our country as GLP inspectors. They keep on checking, basically. They keep on checking the inspections in the GLP certified labs. Now, what happens is if a particular lab needs a GLP compliance certification, that test facilities have to apply in a prescribed application form. After receiving the form, pre-inspection is carried out by GLP inspectors, followed by a final inspection. Then the report is prepared by the inspection team. It's put to the technical committee, recommendation to the chairman, National GLP Compliance Monitoring Activity. And then you have finally a certificate, which is valid for 3 years. So you can see this particular certificate. This is a certificate which has been given to basically on the basis of toxicity studies. And this certificate has been given to Naipar, Mohali, Punjab. Right? And this, you can see the validity, it's from June 23, 2018 to June 22, 2021. Again for 3 years. And after the 3 years, again, the GLP inspectors will be coming and will be checking whether the GLP certification will be continued or not. Now, National GLP Monitoring Authority established by DST has actually entered into an MOU. That is it is an understanding with the Memorandum of Understanding with Quality Council of India and partnering with the Quality Council of India for effective implementation of GLP certification program. Now, students, coming to the GLP principles. We have the management here, we have the quality assurance, which is very important, then we have the study director, and then we have the National Compliance Monitoring Authority, as I have told you. All these actually help in performing monitoring safety studies. Now, what does test facility management do? Actually, you people will be working under test facility management. Now, test facility management, basically, it ensures that sufficient number of qualified persons should be there. So students, you have to be qualified. And for that, you need to know the testing procedures, right? They ensure the test facility ensure facilities, equipment, materials, and they ensure that the person should clearly understand the functions. And they also provide training for the functions. So you need not worry about it. So you have to join a GLP certified lab. Now, what is the other functions of test facility management? They ensure appropriate technical valid SOPs are to be established. So your work is to basically follow the SOPs while working in a GLP certified lab. They ensure a quality assurance program. Okay, they have a designated personnel which is in accordance with the principles of GLP. They ensure maintenance of master schedule. Master schedule is prepared. They ensure the test and reference items are properly characterized. As I told you, it's testing part. So you need to know the test item is there and as well as reference item is there. Then test facility management ensures that computerized systems are suitable for their intended purpose. They should be validated, operated, maintained in accordance with principles of GLP. Then you have the study director. In brief, I would like to tell you about this. He is the single point of study control. He has the responsibility for the overall conduct of the study. He is making the study plan, and students, you have to basically work on the study plan when you work in GLP certified labs. He ensures that raw data is generated, it's fully documented and recorded. It ensures that after completion of the study, the final report is made and GLP compliance statement is there, which is signed by the study director, which guarantees that this particular study follows the GLP principles. Oh, this test facility personnel. Now, basically, what are the expectations from the test facility personnel? First of all, as you will be working in the labs after completing B Pharms, many of you, so you have to be knowledgeable in GLP principles. You have to comply with standard operating procedures. Any deviations if you are doing, that has to be documented and it has to be told to the management as well as study director. Record the data promptly and accurately. In case of mistake, please remember, in case of mistake, I have left it in between here. The reason being, I want to tell you, when suppose a mistake is made, you have to make it transparent. You have to just put a line on it and put the correct figures and initial it. That is the very important thing in GLP, that you have to make the whole system transparent. You have to exercise health precautions to minimize risk. You have to wear the lab coats, you have to wear the do the necessary precautions, you have to be vaccinated if you're working with animals. You have to be vigilant, very vigilant, because you are ultimately responsible for the quality of data. You are ensuring the integrity of study. You have to be honest. So that is required from you, test facility personnel. Then there is quality assurance program, which is the next principle of GLP. So many inspections are going on in GLP. We have study-based inspections, we have facility-based inspection, there are process-based inspections, and ultimately the quality assurance statement is made. Then, wherever we are working in a GLP certified lab, the facility has to be of a suitable size, construction, location. There should be adequate degree of separation of different activities. There should be isolation of test systems. Then there should be suitable rooms for diagnosis, treatment, and control of disease. Students, why I'm telling you why suitable rooms? Because testing is not only the physico-chemical testing, it is a biological testing also for the product which is coming to you from the company. So you have to use animals in this. So you have to diagnose, you have to treat them, you have to control the diseases. Then the apparatus used in GLP labs should be of appropriate design, adequate capacity. There should be documented inspection, cleaning, maintenance, calibration must be there. So you need to work on the calibration part. You need to ensure whatever you're working with, it should be cleaned, maintained. Then you should take care that chemicals, reagents, solutions should be labeled as per GMP as well as GLP, so that it should indicate the identity, it should indicate the expiry, it should indicate the storage conditions. Then we have the test systems in the GLP certified lab. I've told you there are two types of systems are there, physical and chemical test systems are there, then there are biological test systems are there. Basically, physical and chemical test systems are actually the apparatus like IR, UV, HPLC, which should be of appropriate design and adequate capacity. And then you have the biological test systems, that is the small animals on which you'll be working, right? So their storage, their housing, their handling, their care, everything has to be taken care to ensure quality. And then records of sources when they are coming, date of arrival, their conditions, their identification. So you have to ensure all that. You have to ensure whether pest control agents are being used in the test systems, test facilities, so that there is no pests problems. Then you have to ensure test and reference items, receipt, handling, sampling, storage, characterizations. So these are the works of GLP certified labs. Then you have the SOPs. Now these are the written procedures that defines how to carry out a particular protocol. These are written in chronological listing. So students, you have to ensure that SOPs have to be ensured and followed, and the way it is written in chronological listing, this is the way the procedure has to go on. Okay, you have SOPs available for records, reporting, storage, mixing, retrieval of data, as well as analytical methods. Then coming to the performance study, Now, study plan is prepared and signed by study director. The plan is verified by quality assurance team. Then the study plan should contain title, nature, purpose of study. Actually, I'm just doing the briefing of it. Actually, it's in a very vast state, right? Then there are starting dates and completion dates. Then any change in raw data has to be initialed, as I told you, if you're making a change. Then come the next principle of GLP, that's reporting of study results. So final report has to be prepared, dated and signed by study director. The QA program statement should enlist inspections made and should give summary of results. Now lastly, storage and retention of records. You have to retain the study plan, the raw data, the samples, inspection data, master schedules, SOPs, maintenance and calibration data. Index of materials are retained. So finally, I will conclude that GLP is an accepted, approved international standard by OSGDs to avoid fraud activities of testing labs for pesticides, pharmaceuticals, food additives, dyes, to save human health, to save environmental health, and establish good international trade, good relationship among countries. So students, these are some of the GLP test certified labs. Have GLP Lab. You have Origin Lab, you have J Research Foundation, you have Orchid Chemicals, you have Zydus Cadila, you have Niper, you have Reliance, you have Torrent Pharmaceuticals. Then there is National Toxicology Centers, where there are R&D centers, especially for this GLP principle, who follow GLP principles, and the testing is actually applied and documented, and ultimately these are accepted by regulatory countries, and you can follow after that you can follow for the marketing of your product. Thank you very much. I hope I could.
Thank you.
I hope in brief I could make students understand what is GLP.
Yes. Thank you so much, Dr. Roma.
Yeah. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.